hope. Remember, faith itself is substance of things hoped for and evidence of things unseen. So we must keep faith and keep hope. We must also confront the challenges that test our nation's spirit. I think you've been trying to do that. I heard Senator Manzo today, confront, challenge. Mheshimiwa Senator, Mheshimiwa Susan Kiamba, I don't know that she's still in the house. She confronted, literally, excessive use of power and abuse of language, calling leaders that they have no brains. They have no brains. Well, I want to tell you that we have some brains, and Kenyans are very clever people. And even our children have also gone to school. We stand, I cannot speak of hope without first acknowledging the harsh realities we face today. As we close this year and look forward to 2026, we must be honest about the state of our nation. That's why Manzo spoke the way he did. We stand today at a critical juncture in our country's history. The economic burden placed upon the shoulders of the ordinary mwananchi by the Ruto regime in just 3 years is not merely heavy, it is unconscionable. We are witnessing a systematic erosion of the dignity and of livelihoods of hard-working Kenyans across this great republic. Men who keep on crying and they look forward to January now, there will be a further aggression, raiding of the payslip with increased payments to NSSF. And you know what they want to do? They say they'll ring fence those monies. When they sell the national oil pipeline, when they sell Safaricom shares, when they sell other state parastatal bodies, and they put that in what they're calling a ring-fenced basket, because they realize that they cannot increase taxes next year because that would be suicidal for them. They know this. So another way of taxing Kenyans is to put this money, say we are selling it, these parastatals, we put in this in order to perhaps plug in the hole that they would have otherwise filled by overtaxation. They know, they're clever, they can't. You have heard Minister Mbadi say, we will not touch, because they know. But as they refuse to touch, they are touching. And pretending that they are going to build roads. Consider the plight of our farmers, the backbone of this nation, who can no longer afford basic inputs like fertilizer to till their land. Think of the parents, decent and hard-working people, who are being forced to choose between feeding their families and educating their children. This is not just an injustice, it is a violation of the constitutional right to education. Even placing kids to grade 10 or whatever, everything comes with a level of corruption. Therefore, then, we must, Kenyans of conscience, must really determine that, God willing, as we cross this year, we'll never be the same again. We are not going to just sit there and be yes men or yes women. Our small and our medium enterprises, the very engine of our economy, are being suffocated by punitive taxation regimes and predatory lending practices that show no mercy. Can you imagine? Without dealing with serious manufacturing, our manufacturing sector is almost zero. I think somebody said that the example of Singapore, first of all, Ruto does not know that Singapore is a city-state. A city-state. Even that comparison itself I think when you have to be very clear, you're talking about moving. I personally believe the time for the African tiger, the African lion, is now. Because we have our resources. You saw President Trump in trying to get President Tshisekedi and President Kagame to sign that peace agreement in Washington, which was witnessed by regional leaders, including William Ruto. I remember the president of Namibia was, I think, Angola, Namibia, the president of Burundi. They were there, but because William Ruto is chairman of the East African Summit, he also had to be there. Trump made it clear that the reason he's pushing Kagame and Tshisekedi to sign is because the US is interested in the rare minerals, the mineral wealth of this continent is unimaginable. It can shift Kenya to another level, not just Singapore. Not just Singapore. And so we know this. Leave alone the DRC. In Kitui, you have huge deposits of copper. And the prices of copper have been going up. If we got this copper and it is quoted in reputable stock exchanges, that will be enough to clear our country's external debt. I hope you hear what I've said. So when Ruto says we have no agenda, this is how we want to make this country great. We will not follow other examples, because those are Asian tigers. Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore is in that category. In Malaysia, the dominant communities are the Chinese and the indigenous Malays. That trade continues to the Orient countries, including China. So we have to get our own act together as Africa. East African Community Service collapsing under the chairmanship of William Ruto. He's supposed to have handed over the chairmanship to Mama Suluhu. Mama Suluhu itself is having stress. We are living in a stressed environment. So William Ruto should stop misleading Kenyans to a dream world which is not real. Without an important cornerstone, which is peace, Kenya is living peaceably. After 3 years in power, people in his backyard are getting killed in the boundary between Narok and Bomet. We have witnessed an alarming erosion of our democratic institutions. We again heard it from the senators here and other leaders, members of parliament, except our own members of parliament. I must thank them, the 20 plus of them, together with a few who refused, although they were elected in UDA tickets, mainly from Mount Kenya region. They refused to be state captured. We need to give them a clap, because that is the remnant. The rest of you are state captured. The independence of the IEBC